This is the Barbados Today morning news for Tuesday, October 1st. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary Claire Williams. Attorney General Dale Marshall says government will introduce new legislation in the coming weeks to deal with corruption. He was responding to a question from Barbados Today in relation to the recently released Global Corruption Barometer for Latin America and the Caribbean. It stated that 37% of Barbadians believed that corruption had increased in the last 12 months. Marshall told reporters that one such measure is a new whistleblower statute, which is more comprehensive than what obtains in the Integrity in Public Life Bill, and a new Prevention of Corruption statute.
Our existing law, as you know, dates back to 1929, and it refers to an act of corruption as a misdemeanor. So the very description of an act of corruption that is still with us today speaks volumes about the attitude that people had towards acts of corruption. But happily, those things are going to be a thing of the past. So we expect that in addition to introducing a new legal framework, there are some other things that we're going to be doing, which will see Barbados improving by leaps and bounds in terms of how we deal with corruption. The corruption treaty, the UN Treaty on Corruption, we expect to accede to that treaty before the end of the year. It should shame Barbadians to know that there are only two countries in the world that haven't acceded to that treaty, Barbados and Syria.
Marshall also announced plans to introduce evening courts to address the backlog of cases in the magistrate court.
We have a small number of magistrates, but every year about 22,000 cases get filed in our magistrates court. 22,000. We couldn't possibly, and that's annually. So multiply that by 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And of those, the overwhelming majority would be traffic matters. So we have to come up with some new responses to be able to allow our magistrates court to function more efficiently. And I think that now that we've put things in place to begin to solve those problems for the High Court, we're now going to turn our attention to the Magistrates Court. And in that context, we really may have to swell the ranks of our magistracy by doing what is done in other places, additional magistrates who will work another shift.
In other news, residents of St. Joseph are calling for more to be done to ease their water woes, with the Barbados Water Authority now resorting to water rationing in order to combat severe water shortages in high elevation areas. Residents of St. Joseph say they are feeling little ease. Last week, Minister of Energy and Water Resources Wilfred Abrahams said the shutoffs, which began on Friday, were designed to allow the Golden Ridge reservoirs time to refill, and it would mean that the areas that had steady water supply will now experience outages as a result of the rationing system. When Barbados Today visited the Horse Hill community, residents complained that last weekend was the first time they were able to get water through their taps on a weekend, and they want more to be done to improve the situation.
Every Sunday, we know for sure the water does go off, because the most important day when people that got to work, they only getting time home to go cook and washing the children's clothes and go wash and clean. They don't get no water at all. Water shut off on Sundays. Every Sunday we don't get no water.
Motorists will have to wait to find out if government will extend the deadline to have the Barbados Licensing Authority's registration tag attached to their license plates. Scores of people flocked to the 6 Barbados Revenue Authority offices yesterday in an attempt to beat the September 30th deadline, but many were not successful because of long lines. Yesterday was also the deadline for employees and pensioners to pay the second half of their personal income tax bill for 2018. And to further compound the situation, the BRA's office in Warren's system went offline for over an hour. Efforts to contact the Transport and Works Minister, Dr. William Duguid, were unsuccessful, but the minister in that ministry, Peter Phillips, told Barbados Today there needs to be an investigation before a decision is made to extend the deadline.
There's regional and international news after this short break. It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Craft Center. Kick off the weekend this Friday from 4 p.m. to midnight with loads of food, drinks, and entertainment. Get ready for Crop Over with the Rhythm Root Street Parade. Party like it's Kadooman Day on the street around Pelican Village with costume reveler, music, and more. It's Festive Friday. It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Village Center from 4 p.m. to midnight. Admission free.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
From the region, we go to Trinidad, where Sagicor Life Incorporated has acquired the traditional insurance portfolios of Colonial Life Insurance Company and British American Insurance Company. A statement from the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago said the decision was made following a rigorous and competitive bidding process conducted by CLICO and British American with oversight from the Central Bank. The companies have been under the control of the Central Bank since 2009. It is expected that the entire transfer process will last several months. On the international scene, China celebrates 70 years since the founding of the People's Republic of China today, but the celebrations risk being overshadowed by ongoing protests in Hong Kong, where thousands are expected to take to the streets to protest Beijing's control over the territories. We get more in this Reuters report.
A battered and bruised Hong Kong rushed to clean up on Monday ahead of the October 1st National Day. It's Communist China's 70th birthday, and authorities here are eager to put their best face forward. But anti-government protesters have other ideas and plan to take to the streets. Their movement escalated over the weekend with some of the most violent clashes since demonstrations kicked off in June. Protesters threw petrol bombs and set fires, sometimes targeting government offices. Police responded with tear gas and water cannons. They even fired live ammunition, a so-called warning shot to protect their own safety. Demonstrators are angry about what they see as Beijing's creeping control over the former British colony.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook, and sign up for breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I am Marie Claire Williams. Good morning.